Welcome to part 2 of the real reason that we invaded Iraq, because you and I have been lied to our entire lives. In part 1, we talked about how an archaeologist discovered the ancient city of Uruk in modern-day Iraq, and then he discovered the tomb of Gilgamesh, and coincidentally, a few months after, we invaded Iraq. Well, buckle up, because this goes so much deeper than just his tomb. Now for this video, we have to go back to the days immediately following the flood, and this brings us to Genesis 10. Genesis 10 is the genealogy of Noah. Genesis 10:1 tells us that the 3 sons of Noah were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Down it says Ham had Cush, and then Cush had Nimrod. So Nimrod in the Bible is Noah's great-grandson. Now why am I talking about Nimrod? Because Nimrod is Gilgamesh. In the Bible, we learn that Nimrod established a very large kingdom. He was essentially the first king of the world, and it also says that he ruled over all of the other sons of Noah. Now, because of this, there were many different peoples that would write about Nimrod. It was their personal account of who Nimrod was. The Babylonians wrote about him, the Assyrians wrote about him, the Hittites wrote about him. It says even in Palestine, tablets have been found with this man's name on them. He was obviously the most popular hero in the ancient Near East. And of course, the Sumerians wrote about him in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm gonna go back to Genesis 10 to find out about Nimrod's kingdom. This is Genesis 10:8, and it says up at the top, he began to be a mighty one on the earth. We'll go back to that verse later. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. Verse 10, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. That's southern Mesopotamia. From that land, he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, and there's more. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce them. Let's bring that verse to life a little bit. Here is a visual of Nimrod's kingdom. Down here, we have the Tower of Babel. We have Uruk, where he was found, or Erech in the Bible. The city of Ur, which is actually where Abraham was born, and then the land of Shinar. So pretty large kingdom. We're going to go back to Genesis 10:8 because it says he began to be a mighty one on the earth. This is the exact same phrase that God uses when he describes the giants in Genesis 6. So it says, there were giants on the earth in those days and also afterwards. So God is specifically telling us that the giants, these demonic hybrid beings, survived the flood. When the sons of God came into the daughters of man and they bore children to them, those were mighty men who were of old, men of renown. The Greek origin of the words describing Nimrod are exactly the same as the Greek origin of the words God used to describe the giants in Genesis 6. It is worth mentioning that the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament, also says that Nimrod began to be a giant upon the earth. Now, Nimrod is talked a lot about in the book of Jasher, in the Apocrypha. And before anybody comes for me and